setting up today's event. We should be live in just one moment. All righty. Welcome on, ladies and gentlemen. We are about to start today's event, which is going to be exciting. You're going to hear from our founder, Steve Scott, about the NEUMI hydrostat breakthrough. And we do also have captions, which means if you speak a different language, you will be able to translate those automatically at the bottom of the screen. And I'll show you that in a moment after we start the 60-second countdown. So this will give people a chance to type in where they're watching from. And we're live streaming into the NEUMI NU group as well as on the Zoom page as well. So 60 seconds and we'll start. And before we do, I'll give you a quick lesson on how to use captions. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome online to today's session. We're going to hear from our founder, Steve Scott, about the amazing hydrostat nano delivery breakthrough. Before I start, though, for those of you who are logged in and perhaps you don't speak fluent English, or if you want to invite people onto these live events who don't speak the language, feel free to point out that if they're on a computer, we do have closed captions, which means down the bottom, if you click on captions here, then you select your language, whether it's Spanish, German or Swahili. You can go find out whatever you want to hear us in today, which will help you listen to today's session in those languages. So with that in mind, my name is Michael Firth, one of the founding field advisory board members with NEUMI. It's my pleasure to host this particular event. Today, we're going to hear from Steve Scott. If you don't know Steve Scott, he was behind the Total Gym with about $4 billion in sales. And I met my beautiful friend, Steve, our founder, about 15, nearly 16 years ago now, when he was in the research space with a previous company in the area of glutathione, which you're going to get a real good lesson on today. So with that, I'll hand you over to Steve. If you want to unmute, I'll hand it to you.
Okay, I think I'm unmuted.
Yeah.
My screen has a whole bunch of stuff on it because I'm a co-host. So anyway, welcome. And this is always an exciting time of the week for me because I get to see so many of my friends from around the world and that I don't get to see. I can't just jump on a freeway and get to New Zealand or the Philippines or France or Germany or any of those places that are so wonderful that we love. And so welcome. And what I'm going to do today is try to do it a little bit faster than normal. I'm going to try to shorten the call a little bit. Not that we want anybody to miss anything, but I'll just try not to be as, what's the right word? I will try to be more concise in my language. And so anyway, thank you for coming. And like so many people, I have a light that flickers on and off. So my light on my face may be changing from time to time. That's okay, just ignore it. My basic background, for those of you that don't know, I was a chronic failure. I flunked out of 9 jobs in my first 6 years after college, learned some strategies from the book of Proverbs, then learned some skill sets to apply those strategies from 2 mentors, my 2 great mentors in my lifetime. Both are no longer with me. They've both gone on to their eternal home. And but they taught me some amazing skill sets. And with those strategies and skill sets, I started job number 10. And within 5 months, Our business that we started with $5,000 was producing $1 million in sales every week, and then 2 million every week. And it just kept growing and growing. We launched a total of 25 different national brands before I retired when I was 35. We had generated over 40 million phone calls with the commercials I wrote and produced. And we had generated millions and millions and millions of customers. What we're best known for, although it was one of our last new products, started in 1996. It's the longest running infomercial campaign in television history. It's now been on for 27 years, every single day in every market in the United States. And very rare that something lasts that long, but it is the Total Gym. Our two spokespersons for that were Chuck Norris and Christy Brinkley, still are. And it just keeps on going. Every year, there's over 30 million people a year rehabbed on the Total Gym. It's in over 30,000 rehab facilities in the United States. Nearly every training room of every professional sports team in America, and probably most of the world, has a Total Gym in it. So it was that big of a deal. Now, like Michael said, my start or my formula was always started, find a breakthrough product. What's a breakthrough? A breakthrough is something that can do something that nothing else in the world can do as effectively, efficiently, or economically. In our case, we weren't always that economical, but we were breakthroughs in terms of effectiveness. In fact, our first product that we started with $5,000, the price to the consumers was 4.5 times as expensive as the two top national brands, and yet it outsold those two brands many times over, not just in dollar volume, but in raw units, because it was a big breakthrough. And in 2006, I met a doctor who had taught at the Mayo Graduate School of Medicine. And somebody has their mic on, Michael, and that's going to be real distracting if they don't mute.
Steve, could you just unmute yourself at your end? I've just muted everybody, but you can unmute.
There we go. Now we're cooking. Thank you, Michael. And so anyway, I met this doctor from the Mayo Clinic. He had his own clinic in Florida. He was triple board certified oncology, hematology, and immunology. And he introduced me to a word, glutathione. And he had a novel patent that could upregulate cysteine into the cells, which would give the body a chance to build more glutathione. And I was so blown away. I retired from my job of 35 years. It was more than a job. It was a partnership. I owned 22% of the company. And my partners understood that I gained a passion for helping people in the terms of their life, their health, their performance. And I found what I thought was just a huge breakthrough. Well, we did that, and I did that for a number of years. That's where I met Michael and a few other people. I funded the startup, I funded the research, and I left that company in 2017. And shortly thereafter, I thought I was going into retirement. I was, at the time, I think I was 69 years old, 68 or 69. And my publisher, I write books for a living as well, not really for my livelihood, but out of a passion. And my books have been very well received. Most of them are bestsellers. And my publisher was the biggest publisher in the world, Random House. And they wanted my next 7 books. So I thought, okay, I'm retiring. I'm just going to write books. And then lo and behold, somebody says to me, what would you say if we thought we could get glutathione directly into the bloodstream by nanosizing it and having a particular carrier? And I thought, well, if we could really do that and get below a certain particle size that I knew would be the magic number, then I knew we would change life on Earth. We'd change life, we'd change health, we'd change performance, we'd change recovery. everything would change. And so I said, let's do it. So I went ahead and put over $1 million in, and some of my friends wanted in. One of my friends was for 25 years was the head of strategic planning for the third largest pharmaceutical company in the world, which was really a combination of 14 companies. And this man, when he saw what I had, he said, this is the biggest breakthrough I've seen in my lifetime. And he was 3 years older than me, so it had been a long life. And so we launched our research company, our company to try to perfect the technology. And that was called Biotech Nutritional Sciences. And in 2021, in July 7th, that's just 2 years ago and change, we launched a network marketing company. Why? Why take the biggest breakthrough you've ever had in your lifetime and launch it through network marketing? It was a couple reasons. Number one, it's a word of mouth product. It's a product that is so experiential, so quick, that nothing beats network marketing when you have that kind of a product, because everybody talks about it. Now, we'd have to do several things. We'd have to make sure our price point was lower than any competition, and we did that. We'd have to make sure that we had a way to communicate the breakthrough in a way that people would understand. And we had to make sure that of a few things, but what I loved about network marketing, besides the word of mouth part of it, was that you could actually take the marketing money. I'd spent hundreds of millions of dollars with television stations, with retail companies like Walmart and Costco, but hundreds of millions with TV stations advertising our products. And network marketing allows me to take that money that would normally go to TV stations and put it in the pockets of the people that we partner with, the distributors. The rest of the world calls them distributors. We call them NEUMI family members. So we launched NEUMI in 2021, July 7th, to be exact. And it's been everything we hoped it would be and a whole lot more. We're currently in over 65 countries. We have tens of thousands of NEUMI family members around the world. And before I tell you a little bit about NEUMI, let me tell you more about glutathione. Glutathione is the most important molecule in life. It's right there with oxygen. If you're without it for even a matter of minutes, you'd be dead. Everything that lives on Earth needs glutathione: the plants, the trees, the flowers, the bugs, the people. Anything that needs oxygen needs glutathione to survive. And the neat thing is, it's produced by every cell in your body. It's your body's #1 defensive molecule. It performs over 400 functions. Many of those are critical just to your moment-by-moment life. They're all critical to how you get through your day, physically, emotionally, psychologically, mentally. All of it depends on glutathione. How sharp your mind is, how fast you can come into focus and get rid of that brain fog. It's all glutathione based. How you get through your day as far as the fatigue factor. How early do you fatigue? How can you recover from fatigue? How do you recover from illness and so on? How do you recover from injuries? It's all relative to glutathione. So what is glutathione? Well, it's your body's master antioxidant and a whole bunch more. But before I describe what it can do, let me just put the proof of where the pudding is. I was on with a doctor recently who said, I've been using liposomal glutathione for years. And some doctors use IV glutathione directly into the veins. I said, let me show you something and you tell me if your glutathione product can do this. So I'm going to start a little different than normal. I want to show you some before and afters. Your skin is the largest organ in your body. It's also subject to the greatest adverse reactions. Why? Because it takes on radiation head on. So we all end up with DNA damage, a little bit of DNA damage, a lot of skin damage just from going outside, even when we use sunscreen. You know, and the good news about sunscreen, it can help protect from radiation. But do you know there's radiation at night? If you're on an airplane at night, it's called cosmic radiation. And when you're in an airplane, you get it whether it's dark or light outside. Same thing here, but you get it in much greater quantities at altitude, as much as 30 times more when you're at 30,000 feet or higher. Solar radiation, which is what we're used to, you get 10 times as much when you're in an airplane at 30,000 feet. So radiation is very damaging to the skin. And that's just one problem your skin faces that not every organ in your body necessarily faces to the same degree. So if you can change something in a person's skin, wow, it means you can change it in the brain, in the heart, in the liver, the kidneys, every vital organ, every muscle, every tissue. And so I'm going to show you some of our before and afters when we applied this topically to the skin. So this first one was our very first experiment. Her name is Sherry Warner. She was 59 years old. And I put the product in spray form, sent it out to about a dozen people and said, spray your face 5 times a day and do it for 8 weeks. Take before picture and then after 8 weeks. Well, Sherry couldn't wait. She wanted me to see after 7 weeks. And so she sent me those pictures. Now, I've owned 5 skincare and makeup companies. I've had huge celebrities like Cher, Kathy Lee Gifford, Angie Dickinson, all these people as my spokespersons for the different companies. But I'll tell you what I never had was skincare. I never had good before and afters. Nobody does except Botox. And when I saw this, I went crazy. I sent it to my former formulator, who had been president of the American Society of Cosmetic Chemists and became the head formulator at the company that created Botox. And I sent this picture and I said, look at this, John. He said, Steve, I hate to tell you, she's had a facelift. I said, no, she hasn't. I've known her for 15 years. Nothing but our product. She used our product. He said, Steve, Botox can't even do that. There's no product that can do that. I said, John, we did. He said, look how much brighter the skin is. Look how it opened up her eyes. Look how it tightened her every aspect of her face. He said, there's nothing that does that. I said, we do. He said, how do you do that? And I told him, and he said, okay, that makes sense. Well, Sherry wasn't our only before and after. Now we're going to show you some more. This lady obviously had some skin problems, and that was 3 days of just swishing our supplement that you're going to learn about and spraying on the affected areas of her skin, and look at the difference in 3 days. There's nothing in the world that can do that. Next. This is a woman in Australia, lots of sun damage to those hands. She was about 59 at the time, and she swished 3 or 4 times a day, and she was spraying her hands 4 to 6 times a day, and look at the difference. They look like they're 20 years younger. Next. I like this because she's a young woman. A lot of young people think, oh, there's nothing I can do to make my face look better. Let me just tell you, I own makeup companies, and with makeup, you want to go to that peaches and cream and away from the ruddiness. Well, this is without makeup. It just happened in 6 weeks of her spraying her face. Okay, next. Okay, legs, that's self-explanatory. I'm sure that person just thought this is what you get when you get older with your legs. This woman, this was in 8 days. She is an esthetician, a skincare specialist who owns her own salon in Miami, Florida. She called us and said, I'm sending you pictures after 8 days. I can't wait 8 weeks. Look at the difference. Where did my pores go? Look how much smoother, how much brighter my skin is. She said, Steve, I've been an esthetician my whole life, adult life. Nothing can do this. That's right, because this didn't exist your whole life. She had tried it for 8 days. Okay, next. I like this. This is an 85-year-old man in Canada. That was in 40 days. And his skin, honestly, it looks like he's 30 years younger, 30, 40 years younger. By the way, the skin, neck, and décolleté are the first places that show your age. This woman has struggled with this dark shading for much of her adult life. Nothing's helped until she started swishing and spraying, and you can see the difference. Next. Okay, that's nice. You can see it opened up her eyes, tightened her face. Next. Oh, and look at her neck too. Okay, these were my hands when I was much younger. I was 71 here. And my son Ryan wanted me to spray half my face and not spray the other half. I said, I don't want to look goofy. So I just sprayed my right hand and didn't spray my left hand. You can see the difference, the wrinkles, the brightness of the skin tone, and so on. Okay, let's just go through a couple of these and I'll stop you when I want to stop because I made the commitment to do this faster. Next. Here we go. This lady's from Australia. She said, my only problem, I love what it's doing for my skin, but everybody asked me, how did I lose my weight? I didn't lose any weight. Now that was in 4 weeks, but her skin got so much tighter, it looked like she lost weight. Next. Okay, next, let's keep going. I want you to see the best. This woman's young. Look what it did in 2 weeks, how it evened out her skin tone, the pores, just everything is so much better. Next. You see the neck and décolleté. Look at the décolleté. The before, how it's a little bit pockmarked and it's all gone in 2 weeks, as well as the mouth. Okay, keep going. I want to just go through these real quick. Look at her neck. Next. We're almost done. Now, this person thought, hey, this is what happens when you get old. This is what happens with your legs. Can't be changed. Wrong. 10 weeks. And look at her legs. Next. Okay, next, that one you see. Okay, that's me. I was 71. Look how much tighter my skin got. The inflammation's gone, brighter. That was in 7 weeks. But like I say, I was only 71 then, so I was a lot younger. Next. I like this because you see what it did in 1 month. This lady's 60 years old. I saw her at our birthday event. Look at the difference in her eyes and everything. Now watch this. 7 months of use. Oh my gosh, she looks 30 years younger. She doesn't look like a 60-year-old in the after. And that's how she is in person. I mean, I was shocked to hear that she was 60. Next, we're almost done. Okay, there again with the legs, the crepiness is gone in 12 weeks. Next. I like this. This is really 8 weeks. That's a mistake in our graphics department. But this lady, I said, how on earth did you get those results in 8 weeks? Because she looks like she's at least 30 years younger. And she said, every time I saw the bottle, I sprayed. Every time I saw the supplement, I swished. She said, I did it. I overdid it. Yeah, but look at the results. Next. I think we're just about done. Okay, next. There you see it. It's obvious. This woman, this is 8 weeks. Look at her mouth. Look at her neck. It's crazy. Next. I think we're almost there. I love this one. She's the mother of a doctor in Nigeria. She's 80 plus, and she has had the inflammation, the discoloration all of her life, or adult life anyway, most of it. And it was gone in 4 weeks. Now that's crazy. Let's come back. So you see, people can tell me, we've got a glutathione product. I'm on IV glutathione. I do liposomal. But can your products do that? Not even close. Put them on for 10 years and you won't see that kind of change. The before and afters it basically opens their jaw and then it closes all arguments. But just think, if we do that on the outside, what are we doing on the inside with your liver, with your brain, your heart? Do you know the liver uses glutathione to detoxify itself? Every liver cell has 1,000 times more glutathione than any other cell in the body because it uses it to detoxify itself. Without that, the liver would collect all of those toxins that come in through your blood, and we'd all die of liver disease in probably a matter of months. But instead, it uses glutathione. Glutathione performs 400 functions. Just one of them is detoxing the cells. It detoxes every cell in your body. Everybody on this call has at least 200 industrial chemicals that you're carrying around right now. And what happens if left unabated, those chemicals can break the integrity of your mitochondrial DNA. When that happens, the cell is then at risk for mutating. Now, none of this is just my opinion. There's over 177,000 published studies on glutathione. Dr. Mehmet Oz, a Harvard heart surgeon, did an entire TV show on glutathione a number of years ago, and he opened the show saying, glutathione, it's the let's see, it's the most important antioxidant you've never heard of. It's what protects us from the diseases we fear the most. It is your body's #1 line of defense. The problem is glutathione declines every year. It declines by about 10 to 15% per decade. And when it declines, everything starts to get worse. Your mental performance goes down, your physical performance goes down, starts declining at the age of 20. Now, it declines at the rate, like I said, of 10 to 15% per decade. But what they've discovered, as glutathione declines, it opens up the gateway to 78 disease classes of aging: cardiovascular, pulmonary, neurodegenerative diseases. All those things begin to take root and accelerate as your glutathione levels decline. So how does it affect aging? Well, here's the best way to explain it. Every cell in our body is attacked 10 to 20,000 times a day by free radicals. A free radical is a scavenger, a thief. It wants to steal an electron from the cell. When it does that, that creates a terrible reaction called oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is too much oxygen to process. That oxidative stress does two terrible things. #1, it creates inflammation in the cell, which inhibits the efficient cellular activity that the cell is designed to perform, whether it's a brain cell, heart cell, whatever. Inflammation always gets in the way. It's created from the oxidative stress. The other thing the oxidative stress does, it accelerates the aging of the cells, of the tissues, of the organs, of the muscle tissue, your joints, your bones. It accelerates aging. That's what oxidative stress does. So I would ask everybody on this call, do you want to get older faster? Do you want to stay younger longer? Do you want your brain to age more rapidly or more slowly? Do you want your heart, your lungs to age more rapidly or more slowly? Nobody in their right mind wants to age more rapidly. Well, the key is to slow down oxidative stress. So how do you do that? Antioxidants donate one of their electrons to the free radical. Every cell's attacked 10 to 20,000 times a day, and it donates an electron to the free radical, and that sequesters or neutralizes the free radical. Now, there's a whole host of free radicals, okay? Some are sourced from oxygen, some are sourced from nitrogen, some are sourced from hydrogen. They have different sources, different structures, different compositions. All antioxidants except glutathione are monofocused. That means they can take out one type, but can't take out any of the others. So vitamin C may take out that, but it leaves all of these. Vitamin E, superoxide dismutase, catalase, they're all monofocused. Glutathione is called the master antioxidant because, like the master key of a hotel that can open any and every door in the hotel, other keys can't. Glutathione can sequester, capture, neutralize all free radicals, regardless of type, regardless of source, regardless of structure. You know, we have to deal with free radicals today that our parents never had to deal with. One really bad guy, a real aggressive one, is called peroxynitrite. It's created when the microwaves from those 5G antennas enter our body, and they react with the nitrogen in our body. And that reaction literally produces a free radical called peroxynitrite. It lives 1 billion times longer than any free radical that is oxygen-based. 1 billion times longer. It can actually cross from one cell to another cell. And guess what it does? It attacks your cell's DNA, your mitochondrial DNA. Why is that terrible? Because when the DNA fails, the cell can mutate. And we know what happens when cells mutate and multiply. It's a real bad news situation and a horrible situation. Well, what breaks down that mitochondrial DNA is the chemical load in the cell and it's the free radical attack. Now, the chemical load in the cell, glutathione is the detoxifier of the cell. It has a sticky sulfhydryl molecule that's like flypaper. It sticks to the chemical and then it escorts it out of the cell. So glutathione doesn't only detox your liver cells, it detoxes your heart cells, your brain cells, your eye cells, your skin cells, your kidney cells. Everything gets detoxified by one thing only. 99% of detoxification, it's glutathione. So that's obviously critically important. Glutathione is the sole protector of our immune system. We found out in the pandemic how important our immune system is. Now, the way the immune system works, whenever there's a bacterial or viral insult to our body, the immune system goes to work to try to figure out how to kill, how to assassinate the bacteria or the virus. And the faster it can assassinate the bacteria or virus, the sooner you recover, the less sick you become if it can do it quickly. The way it does it, it produces two types of assassins, T cells, which are the main assassins, and B cells. How fast T cells and B cells reproduce is entirely dependent on your glutathione levels. Okay, once again, they're declining as we age. So you'll find that people that were older didn't fare so well in the pandemic as people who were younger, typically. People that had very responsive immune systems, they ended up doing really well. I mean, they still got sick, but they didn't die. There was one article that was published in the May of 2021 issue of the Journal of Infectious Diseases, put out by the American Chemical Society, ACS. And that article, a Russian scientist, showed that people with high glutathione levels didn't get that sick and didn't die. In fact, the title of the article was Low Levels of Endogenous Glutathione as the Cause of Severe Symptoms and Death in COVID patients. Now, will our product protect you, cure you of COVID? Absolutely not. That's not what we're not talking about our product right now. We're talking about glutathione and its incredible ability. It's truly a miracle molecule. You know, when other antioxidants donate electrons and capture a free radical, they don't recycle themselves. Glutathione does. So glutathione donates an electron, sequesters or neutralizes a free radical, then quickly creates another electron that it can donate. So it recycles itself. That's why it's called the miracle molecule. It's like a gun that fires off a bullet and then builds a new bullet and fires that off, or a car that runs out of gas and builds more gasoline and runs itself. It is that much of a miracle. And so the fact that our glutathione levels are declining so rapidly, what do? You can go out and buy glutathione capsules anywhere, or cysteine capsules for that matter. But as soon as those capsules get into your stomach, guess what happens? Glutathione and cysteine are so fragile that the stomach acid breaks them. So they can't go into the cell. They're broken. They're useless. Okay. Now, some people resort to IV glutathione. Typically, it's $150 to $300 per infusion. They put it into your arm. Takes about an hour, unless you get an injection. Takes about an hour, and that would be great news, except some of the limitations of the IV solution is that the size of the particle, but also, and here's the big one, the half-life of glutathione, once it's in the cell, is only 90 minutes. So you spend $300 on an infusion, and what are you going to get? You're going to get 90 minutes of wow. In fact, you're going to get 6 hours of pretty good bang for the buck. But within 32 hours, you need another infusion, 32 to 36 hours. Most people don't want to get infusions every day and a half of glutathione. Now, we know a doctor, a surgeon in Miami, he was getting 3 a week, 3 glutathione infusions a week, because he was in surgery 14 hours a day, plastic surgeon, 5 days a week. So he was living on 3 infusions. Why? To keep his mental focus sharp and to keep his physical stamina. He thought he'd try our product and he thought he would see a big dip in both mental focus and stamina. Instead of a dip, he said it went up. He never went back to his infusions. And instead, he was using our product. So what is our product? Well, we've nano-sized glutathione, L-cysteine, and a number of other particles with a special process that we alone own. It's called hydrostat. And we, instead of wrapping the particles in fats or lipids like liposomes do, we have found a way to reorganize water molecules to create an envelope out of ultra pure water, about 40% more pure than a hospital IV. And that carries our nanoparticles directly into your bloodstream as you swish like a mouthwash, hold it under your tongue. Okay, while you're doing either, you're absorbing those particles. And we say on the label, do it for 30 seconds. We have a lot of athletes, even world-class and professional athletes, that will swish for 2 or 3 minutes. I start my day by swishing, and I typically will hold it under my tongue while I'm putting my contacts in. I use an electric razor, so I'll swish while I'm shaving. I'll jump in the shower, still be swishing. I'm getting as much in as I can. And consequently, I tend to only swish once a day. If I need it, if I have to write a chapter in a book between midnight and 1 a.m. or 2 a.m., then I'll swish again. There's no stimulant, so it doesn't keep you awake. You don't have to worry about that. But in fact, as soon as my head hits the pillow, the brain doesn't need to activate glutathione to the degree that it does when I'm thinking and writing. And so I don't have any problem falling asleep. I'm asleep usually within 4 to 5 minutes. How should you use it? If you work out, you want to take it 5 minutes before you work out. You see, from the time it gets into your bloodstream till the time it leaves the bloodstream and gets into the cells is only 70 seconds. So we tell athletes, in fact, there's been some tests that have really shown you always want to take it 5 minutes before an event and or 5 minutes before a workout. Now, if you're an endurance athlete, you want to take it every hour of the event. So we have some endurance athletes where the events will be 8, 10, 12 hours. They take it every hour, and they say that they never go into that deep deficit, that they are getting a reset every time they swish. That's about every hour they'll swish another serving. They get real creative. They put it into little squeegee bottles and squeeze it in and stuff. But we have seen amazing things. We had one weightlifter. He set the world record in the bench press when he was 49 years old in 2008. He's drug tested because he competes as an amateur. But in 2008, he bench pressed 804 pounds. He was the strength and conditioning coach of the Seattle Seahawks. Then I called him in 2018. He's a good friend of mine. And I said, how are you doing? And he said, well, not so good. I said, why? What's wrong? I got to get out of the sun. And he said, well, I'm still here at Liberty University, but my bench is down to 700 pounds. And I said, well, that sounds good for a 59-year-old. He said, yeah, it's a world record, but I don't get to compete with the elite guys anymore because they're all pushing 790, 800, and so on. And he said, I used to work out heavy 4 times a week. Now I can, because of the inflammation and a lifetime of working out, he says, I'm still trying to get out of the sun. He says, I now work out, how often? He said, I can lift heavy now 4 times a week. He said, but, oh no, 1 time a week. Well, I said, I'm going to send you a product that's going to change everything. I told him how to use it. We gave him Swish in June of 2018 before we started marketing the product. And in the next 6 months, his lift went to 915 pounds. 6 months later, as a 60-year-old, he benched 1,050 pounds. Here on the right-hand side is his final lift of his career. He decided to retire in 2022. He was 62 years old, and he bench pressed 1,129 pounds, a new world record. Now, if you can come back to me, you can see his testimony on YouTube if you type in NEUMI weightlifter. But that was only for the first 6 months, but it's still a great 3-minute testimonial. And after that, he went all the way to 1129. Now, how does that work? Watch. He sets the world record and he peaks when he's 49 years old. At 59, he's lost 100 pounds of that ability to lift, and he's only lifting about 715, 725. But then in the next year, as a 60-year-old, he goes to 1,050, 200 pounds better than his peak. At 62, he goes to 1,129.8 pounds, 300 pounds heavier, more than when he was at his peak at 49, except now he's 62. And guess what else? It's not over. He feels better. He feels good. He doesn't hurt every day, and he recovers quickly. We changed his life. Now, I know there's nobody here that's trying to set world records in the bench press, but we're all performers. We have to perform from the time we wake up till the time we go to sleep. We're performing. We're working mentally, physically, emotionally, psychologically. Every system in your body wants more glutathione. So what did we do that's different? First, we nanosized it, very, very tiny. That means we get a much higher bioavailability. And here's the important part: better utilization inside the cell. You see, we not only increase the bioavailability, but when you nanosize particles, you increase the surface area contact. Do you know if you took a soccer ball or a football, for those of you that are in other parts of the world, and made it out of solid plastic and flattened it, you'd have 1.3 square feet of surface area. If you took that same mass and broke it into nanoparticles that were 80 nanometers in diameter, same mass, you'd have 102 acres, enough to cover 72 soccer fields. That's what nanosizing does. Because people say, well, you don't have very much in it, only 29 milligrams of active ingredient. Yeah, but guess what? Using our nano system, we have more surface area than you would get at 1,000 times the same amount in a conventional delivery. So we're all about, and does it make a difference? Well, you saw the difference it makes. By the way, you can go to in your back office now and you can find the graphics for this poster. This is what we use when we go to medical conventions and stuff. And the before and afters, like you saw, are jaw-dropping. You can print them up, go to Alpha Graphics or any place and you can print them. Well, we formed our network marketing company called NEUMI. We treat everybody like they're a family member with kindness and honor. And everything we wanted to see, we're seeing. We're seeing lives radically changed because we manufacture using our process. We do the manufacturing. We're able to keep our costs low, which gives us more room for commissions. And so we have a very generous compensation plan. And at the same time, even giving that much more in terms of our compensation plan, we still are under the price of most products in the network marketing space. So we're not hitting people up for a lot of money. In fact, we don't charge anything to join. We don't charge anything to stay active as far as the company's going. You renew every year for free. We have apps that allow you to send out videos to anybody, and our app is free. We're not interested in trying to get every little penny out of everybody we can. We want to get the product out because we're changing lives. This is a legacy business. Ours is. What does that mean? It means if we impact one life, we're impacting a family. We impact a family, and we impact their progeny for generations. That's a legacy. I hope you'll join us. Talk to the person who invited you onto this call. I think that was my wife or my niece, and I'm doing it from home this week. We asked you would go ahead, join. Somebody really cares about you to invite you to this call. And there's so much more I could share, but they asked me to keep it short. And I'm down to 45. Well, Michael took a minute and a half, 2 minutes. So I'm down to about 43 minutes. That's pretty short for me. So thank you for joining us. Michael, back to you, brother.
Beautiful. Thank you, Steve. That was fantastic, succinct, and we were live streaming also, ladies and gentlemen. If you're in here in the Zoom room, just know that we are also live streaming into the NEUMI group, which you can go join yourself now. If you're doing that, you will have to answer some questions like who invited you and click agree to group rules, but you can play this back. So if you've got other friends who want to see this, it'll be literally playable by their minutes after we finish this event. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where you are in the world. We'll see you all on the next event. Bye.